Sosa. Here's Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, Top Rank Incorporated and the undisputed King of Beers, Budweiser, present the featured bout of the evening. This bout is sanctioned by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board, Boxing Commissioner Larry Hazard Sr., Chairman Jerry Gormley, Deputy Commissioners Lawrence Wallace and R. Yogi Hiltner, Board members Gary Shaw and Richard Harrison. The three judges scoring this bout on a 10-point must system are Rocky Castellani, Tommy Kazmarek, and Eugene Grant. Chief physician at ringside, Dr. Frank Bidoggett. Attending physicians, Dr. Eric Wormser and Dr. Dominic Coletta Jr. The timekeeper is Arthur Spell. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Merv Griffin's Resorts Casino Hotel on the boardwalk in Atlantic City, New Jersey, let's get ready to rumble. 10 rounds of boxing in the super middleweight division. The referee for this bout is Joe Cortez. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the red trunk with white letters, he weighs an even 168 pounds. Originally from Wyandanch, Long Island, now living and fighting out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. His professional record, 18 victories with 9 KOs against 2 defeats and 3 draws. Ladies and gentlemen, the Wyandanch warrior, Tyrone Frazier. And his opponent fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the gold trunks with black trim, he weighs an even 169 pounds from the Big Apple, New York City. An outstanding professional record of 18-1, 14 KOs. Introducing Merqui Sosa.
All right, gentlemen, the rules were given both to you earlier. Ya te dieron las reglas esta tarde. I want a good, clean fight. En una pelea limpia. Shake hands. Good luck to both of you. Fuerte.
And so you can see that Tyrone Frazier, hey, does he know how to do PR or what? Top Rank right in the back of his head. And there's Merqui Sosa, who doesn't have anything written on his head, but he knows what's in his brain. And what's in his brain is the fact that he needs a good performance here tonight, if for no other reason, just to erase the performance he had last time out on ESPN. Very, very dismal performance against James Toney.
Right, that loss by Sosa really not in the same class as Frazier's loss to Virgil Hill, because in that one, Frazier at least was trying to win, and he was in there outgunned against a world champion and a guy who was a lot bigger than him.
Many, many subplots really and sidelights to this bout, as we'll chronicle as we go along. One of them is, of course, the weight question. Tyrone Frazier coming back down to what is a natural weight for him. Sosa going up about 8 pounds from where he's been. Why do you think Sosa had to lose a pound today?
I have no idea.
It's really an odd development, considering he's used to getting down to 160.
That's right, and especially since he's a guy who fought at about 158 pounds against James Toney. You would think that he would have no problem coming in at 168.
Well, we'll see if that is a problem for him. Good uppercut on the inside by Sosa. Remember, Wally pointed that out in his keys, that's a big weapon for Sosa.
Sosa is not very fast with his hands, and that'll become apparent if it hasn't already. But he's a deliberate puncher, and when he's placing his punches well, he can hit with a lot of power.
All right, break out.
We're in round 1. It is set for 10. And there's Frazier doing another thing that Wally said in his keys, and that is get in with the jab. These guys are listening to you.
Hall of Fame, I hear you calling.
Overhand right misses by Tyrone Frazier. Another subplot here is the fact that Tyrone Frazier admitted to us today that in his 2 bouts back since he had a detached retina, especially against Hill, it was bothering him, Wally.
Right, very interesting thing that he admitted that to us today. He said even in sparring he was a bit gun-shy, but he says he's over it now. And he got whacked enough, I guess, around the eye that he's convinced that it holds up.
There are few men in boxing with a more engaging personality than Tyrone Frazier, an articulate young man who is just a pleasure to be around.
He really is. It's a great interview. He's very funny, and he just got nailed with a low blow.
Nothing funny about that. And he had Sosa backed against the ropes. He says, okay, and go. You know what? I always think boxers, especially game ones like Tyrone Frazier, don't take enough time when they get with the low blow.
You're right. There really is no sense to rushing back in. They give you 5 minutes. I mean, take it.
I'd take it every single time if the referee would let me. Frazier again using that jab.
Merqui Sosa has a very long reach when he uses his left jab, which is not very often.
Yeah, he negates his reach a lot by not using that punch. They really want him to use it. There's Frazier jabbing his way in very easily.
Here we see Merqui with his arms pinned up against his sides. Can't punch out of this.
So round one comes to a close. Good one for Tyrone Frazier. We enter round two with Tyrone Frazier where he wants to be, on the inside, ripping hooks and uppercuts. Oh, look at the punch. Wow, look at that.
That's surprising, isn't it?
I am shocked at that. It's very seldom I'm shocked. In this case, I am. I really thought maybe Frazier had done better in that first round.
I thought so, and I gave him a round. I mean, you know, again, we go with that gut feeling sometimes over the numbers.
Well, and there's an overhand right by Sosa, so you can see he is landing and blocking a lot also. Well, both those blocked, but that right hand got in. Well, whether they're blocked or not, for Tyrone Frazier to feel he's in this fight, that's the posture he wants to be in.
That's like the Frazier office right there, huh?
Oh, boy.
Head on the chest.
And how many of the boxers that Joe Frazier has worked with have we seen it in? Rodney was that way. Marvis had that style.
And Hector.
Hector, yeah, that's right. Well, we're seeing some exciting fights here on ESPN. Tyrone missing badly with that right hand.
Tyrone a little bit over anxious, I think, because he had Merqui right there to be hit, and he missed him with a right hand that really should have landed.
Well, he admitted in his last fight against Steve Little, and he made an admission no other boxer, I think, would ever make. We didn't even press him, and I said, how was your performance against Little? He said, not good. He said, I was booed by the crowd afterwards. He said, I was never into the bout. I had to lose weight beforehand, and it just wasn't a good performance. He was very tentative.
Made no excuses about it, though, and he said he expected to do much better today.
Sosa with that uppercut, there it is, what you talked about, and it is landing. Both men have good uppercuts.
I've seen Sosa knock some men cold with that uppercut at the Felt Forum, which is where he fought most of his early fights.
And we're going to find out, aren't we, if his power extends into the super middleweight division, because Tyrone Frazier, not a man that would go down or out easily.
No, he's all heart, I'll tell you. This is the kind of fight he likes. He doesn't really mind taking a lot of punches.
And he is getting pummeled on the inside at this moment. About a half minute left to go in round two, and it's been a round in which Merqui Sosa has really found a way to fight on the inside against Frazier. And what he's found is that uppercut.
Fighting very intelligently off the ropes, too.
What a difference in this performance.
I was going to say the same thing.
It's amazing. It is like two completely different boxers. Staggering.
So is Frazier.
Yeah, what a second round for Merqui Sosa. And Tyrone may feel like he's got to go back to the drawing board. It's here in the corner.
Double right. This is double right. Now double it right as we got it. Body here. You done it once. Do it again. Double it right. Okay.
We can double up on that hook too now.
Right. Double it right and come back with the hook. Look. Say wing and come back with the hook. And then you uppercut. You just punch here. Bang. Bang. Throw it. You're all right now. I can see you looking at it. Focus in there. Don't let him teach you how to fight from trying to steal it.
Off my eye.
Yeah.
Okay, when you throw the uppercut, come back with the left hook now. Right uppercut, left hook. Get that. Get off.
Okay.
And here's Merqui Sosa with those short uppercuts off the ropes. He's not trying to throw straight punches, which he knows are not going to land on Frazier, but he's bringing it right up, and he's catching him under the chin.
And ironically, they talked to that man, Tyrone Frazier, about using his own uppercut and then following with the hook. Terrific advice in that corner. We head into round three. It's Merqui Sosa in the gold and Tyrone Frazier in the red.
Well, let's see if Tyrone elects to keep his distance. I know they told Frazier to do basically what Sosa is outdoing him at right now. But he may have his own plan in mind. He told us today that he was going to do whatever he felt was right. And so far, he can't feel that inside fight is working.
Well, he said today, too, that Sosa's so awkward and so difficult to fight. He said you almost have to go in and just adapt to what he's doing.
This is unusual. Sosa now looks like the boxer.
And doing it quite well, I might add.
There's that jab that he does not use often enough. That is a heck of a punch.
There is round 2. The numbers tell you that Sosa did extremely well. Now there's Frazier. There's the uppercut, and there's the hook. He did what they wanted, but Sosa landed his own uppercut. So Tyrone Frazier remembered what they told him in that corner. See if he can remember it some more. Much more controlled and disciplined effort by Merqui Sosa than we saw against James Toney, and that loss cost him. James Toney is now fighting Michael Nunn for the middleweight championship. That might have been Sosa had he won.
That's right. Although I do not think that the style of Nunn would have meshed very well with Sosa.
No.
Although I'm not sure who Nunn's style meshes well with at all.
Well, I'll tell you what, with Sosa, it would have been an ugly affair. That's for sure.
Watch your head.
There was one major drawback to Tyrone Frazier's style, and that is he's not a killer puncher the way Tyrone Frazier was.
And you know what? Probably that's been the main problem with all the Frazier boxers. They could adapt to the style of Joe, but didn't have the power he had.
Right. You've got to be a special kind of fighter to fight this way. You have to have a chin of iron, and you got to be able to knock down a tree.
And Frazier working on the inside, but getting hit. None of the crazy, wild punching by Sosa that we saw against Toney. None of the keeping his hands down at the waist. Boxing quite well. And amazingly, winning on the inside, Wally. That's really shocking.
He really is, because that shouldn't be a strong point, but he's staying with the uppercuts. He's not trying to throw too many left hooks, not throwing many straight rights, nothing but uppercuts.
And the right hand of Sosa really getting there against Tyrone Frazier.
Oh, we got it.
Sosa with a left hook, and in round 3, Sosa doing even better than he did in the second round, and Tyrone Frazier's going to have to figure out a new battle plan.
A long stick that he just doesn't use enough, and that's an effective punch.
We head into round 4 of our main event, a scheduled 10-rounder. Tyrone Frazier, the 28-year-old from Philadelphia, against Merqui Sosa, a 25-year-old now living in Queens, but originally from the Dominican Republic. It's been a superb effort so far by Sosa, evidenced by those numbers.
We can see each round Sosa has been widening the gap a bit in terms of punches landed.
Big right hand landed against Frazier.
Let's not forget the awkwardness of Merqui Sosa is also making it very difficult for Frazier, because Sosa turns left, he turns right, he backhands with his jab, and then he throws a right uppercut. Very, very unusual.
Tyrone Frazier referred to it earlier today as a very funky style. That's probably an apt description.
Probably as good as we can describe it.
You're scoring, Wally.
I gave Sosa rounds 2 and 3. I thought that he's fighting well off the ropes, and he's really taking Frazier right out of his game plan.
And Tyrone is not putting too much into those punches. A lot of arm punches. Again, the uppercut by Sosa. He is just eating Tyrone up alive on the inside.
And he's very patient. Unlike, against James Toney, as I said, he seemed to run out of ideas. He actually just dropped his hands and walked around the ring. Here he seems to be concentrating on the fight, watching Tyrone very closely and picking his shots.
Well, so far, what a move by Sosa. Looked away. That was like a Lonnie Smith move. Turned away, looked away, and then came with a left hook.
Speaking of awkward and unorthodox fighters.
Yeah. There's now Frazier with his first good uppercut of really the last round or 2.
This is about the best scoring Tyrone has done in quite a while.
Yeah, he has landed some on those ropes. Now there's the jab. And hey, what happened to Tyrone's jab of jabbing his way in? He has not used it.
He gave up on that in the first round. Tyrone Frazier's been hit with at least a half dozen good right uppercuts in this round alone.
He has never been knocked out in his career, Tyrone Frazier, and you are seeing why. Merqui Sosa has knocked out 14 of the 18 in his 18 bouts. So, of his 18 wins, I should say.
And believe me when I tell you, he is a good, solid puncher.
You've seen him a lot in New York, and you know. Good rights by Sosa, double rights. Tyrone, the gamest guy you will ever meet. Now that left hook, Tyrone got something on, but still he takes a pounding from Sosa on the inside.
That was a very good left hook. He was on balance with it. He had all his weight behind it.
Finally, Tyrone Frazier putting leverage in those left hooks to both the body and the head. Maybe that will give him something to build on in the next round. Exciting match so far.
Spitting blood.
We check in here with Merqui Sosa, Pat Versace.
Okay, here we go. Merqui, you're not listening against the ropes. He's getting too close to you against the ropes. You understand? Make him, turn him around. Make him go against the ropes. You need a little more room. You're starting to drop your hands. Don't do that. Keep your hands up. You've got to continue to use the strong double jab. Nice deep breath. Come on, baby. Vaseline.
Here's a little misdirection by Merqui Sosa. Looks one way, steps around. Bingo, left hook. Tyrone Frazier, that grit just will not die. Here he is at the end of the round, flurrying back, and he actually landed several good left hooks and a good right uppercut.
And the advice Pat Versace gave this man in the corner as we head into round 5 was don't drop your hands. And he shouldn't have dropped his hands there because Tyrone Frazier came out firing.
Pat also not happy with the fact that Sosa has spent so much time on the ropes. Maybe I'm not headed to the Hall of Fame after all.
No, I think we're at least going to nominate you, Roland. They're reserving the spot at Conestoga right now.
As long as I don't have to visit it in the wintertime.
We're going to be up there in that area in, I think, April in Albany, New York, April 11th. Body work by Frazier, important, and now he is getting those hooks. There's the jab, Wally, you talked about. Very important weapon for him.
You know, we really can't say enough about the recuperative powers. He ran into a right hand right at the beginning of the round, and there you can see Sosa landing almost twice as many punches in round 4.
The uppercut again by Sosa, but from the outside it is less effective. Merqui Sosa is starting to drop his hands more. There's no question about that. Look at him.
Yeah, and it looks a little bit like he's trying to rely on single punches.
And I'll tell you what, Merqui Sosa better not get too careless. It's true Frazier's not a huge puncher, but he punches quickly. Now there's a left hook to the body by Frazier, the kind he wants more of. And it may force Sosa not to lay on the ropes like this.
See, I think what Pat Versace is saying is that Sosa hasn't been active enough on the ropes, even though he's slipping those punches in. And they've been good punches. I just think he wants more activity out of them.
Overhand right by Frazier. Make no mistake, there's a subtle change happening here. Tyrone Frazier is starting to get his punches in better. You know what, this is kind of reminiscent of his fight with Vincent Bulwer, where early he had some problems, then all of a sudden really started to take control. Ended up with a draw that many disputed, but he came out in those middle rounds.
Oh, I thought he clearly won that fight with Bulwer, and what made it that kind of a fight was the heart of Tyrone Frazier.
And he's certainly shown his share of that here tonight. Doing pretty well in this 5th round, but now here comes Sosa.
Now let's not forget that Sosa showed a tendency to get frustrated against Tony. If he finds that he can't hurt Frazier or knock him down, and Frazier keeps coming on like this, we could see a dramatic change.
Half a minute left to go in round 5. We're approaching the halfway point of this 10-rounder. And it has not wanted for action. Both men have been throwing and throwing often. Again, the right gets there by Sosa, but here comes Tyrone Frazier.
That was a low left hook by Sosa.
You are right there to see the action. You can't get any closer. So round 6 is coming up, and there are still a few twists and turns left in this one, I guarantee you. Round 6, our main event. Merqui Sosa in the gold, Tyrone Frazier in the red. They are super middleweights, and they are active boxers in this match.
I think Frazier a little bit more active than Sosa in round 5.
He came on well in that round. Did take some shots from Sosa, but managed to get in his own.
He pretty much had things his own way in the corner over here in the last 30 seconds of the round.
Sosa using this ring as he has on a number of occasions. Now Frazier putting together, I think, a better selection of punches, Wally. Picking his spots a little bit better.
He's also varying his distance a bit. He's not always inside, not always outside. Moving in and out a little bit more on Sosa. Sosa does not deal well with movement.
And that's why James Toney gave him some trouble. Some of the people here, the boxing scribes and observers, were saying that they thought that Sosa would look good because of Frazier's style. Coming straight forward.
He has looked a lot better.
Yeah.
This is certainly more the kind of fight that he likes.
Now there's a couple straight shots by Frazier that gets there. Excellent right hand by Tyrone Frazier.
Now here's where that will to win of Frazier seems to be taking over a bit. Sosa's starting to act very strangely like he did late in the Toney fight. Kind of looking away, dropping his hands, making faces, but he's not really fighting very much.
A writer once wrote about Joe Frazier, you can beat at his perimeters, but you can never still his heart. And you know what? That could apply to Tyrone Frazier as well.
Oh, what a great line.
Yeah, I think Mark Cram wrote it in Sports Illustrated. And Tyrone Frazier showing us that grit.
Now he looks like Smoking Joe. He won't even give Sosa a second to breathe.
And if he's going to win this bout, this is the way he'll do it. And I'll tell you, a good countering, though, by Sosa off the ropes.
Here's one of the few times Frazier's had his back to the ropes.
And that is what Pat Versace was trying to get Sosa to do. And I'll tell you what, even if you're doing well off the ropes, I'd be curious if you agree, sometimes you're not going to get the nod by the judges.
Right, because it does not look good to have you back to the ropes.
So here in round 6, Tyrone Frazier continues a middle round assault that might put him right back into the picture in this bout. We'll see. Tyrone Frazier in his corner, they work a little bit on a cut on the lip. And Wally, let's take a look back at your keys to victory. It could be interesting.
Well, I'll tell you what, Sosa has used the right uppercut to very good effect, but I think he is getting frustrated at this point in the fight. Frazier's jab has not been as much of a factor as I thought it might be, but his inside work is starting to take a toll.
So it's 50-50 for both boxers, and maybe the one that's going to win is the one that gets the other key going.
Here you can see Frazier trying to crowd Sosa somewhat on the inside, but paying the price for it.
We head into round 7, and Merqui Sosa gets on his bicycle, where he has had some pretty good success in this bout. Sosa, as I mentioned, originally from the Dominican Republic. Fascinating that he works on his English by listening to musical tapes and translating what the singers are saying to make sure he understands all the words. He combines his love for music with his anxiousness to learn the language.
Interesting philosophy, but I'll tell you, his English has improved very, very much in the 3 or 4 years that I know him.
It really has, and oh, look at that. You've got it even now.
Well, I gave Frazier the last 2 rounds because I really think Sosa has slowed down quite a bit.
And you know, this might be a matter in which Sosa might have won his rounds bigger in this bout, but Frazier may end up winning the same number of rounds or more.
Well, again, it may come down to, and it's a cliche, but with Frazier, it's often true. The fighter that wants to win it more, nobody, I think, wants to win a fight more than Tyrone Frazier.
Ever. We are in the middle, if you will, of our super middleweight bout. 10-rounder between Tyrone Frazier in the red trunks and Merqui Sosa in the gold. I'm Al Bernstein along with Wally Matthews here in round 7. And it has been a very entertaining matchup. If you joined us late, Junior Jones beat Juan Carrazzo in a majority decision earlier this evening in what was also an entertaining match.
And in this round, Al, Sosa has been countering better off the ropes the way he was in the earlier rounds and the way he was not in rounds 5 and 6.
There's the uppercut and followed by the left hook. That's the combination Frazier's people so desperately want from him. Instead, it's Sosa landing that shot. You get an excellent view there of both the counterpunching of Sosa and the ferocity of the body attack of Tyrone Frazier.
I'll tell you, that the chin and the will of Frazier could frustrate anybody. Because the combination that Sosa landed about 45 seconds ago would have stopped most fighters in their tracks.
Absolutely. Or knocked them down.
Right, and since then, Frazier has just come on even stronger.
Right hand, underneath.
Half a minute left to go in round 7, a round in which, by and large, Merqui Sosa has kind of gotten himself back on track, I think.
Come on, Merqui. You gotta work. You gotta work. You gotta work.
Some blood from the lip of Tyrone Frazier, or his nose. It's getting a little worse now. And so round 7 goes into the books. Maybe a good one for Sosa.
Tyrone Frazier, they're checking that nose for a couple of extra wiggles in there. A lot of blood coming out of there at the end of round 7. It could very well be broken.
Well, we head into round 8, and that one of a number of problems that Frazier is facing.
That nose is really swollen, and the blood is just streaming out.
You mentioned earlier, of course, that Tyrone had a detached retina in his training for the Virgil Hill bout. That doesn't appear to have bothered him. He doesn't appear gun-shy at all, but the nose, if it is broken, a big, big problem for him. Look at that for Merqui Sosa. What a huge round in the 7th.
44 punches landed, only 16 for Frazier. And Frazier's production really dropped. In round 6, he threw 90 punches. In round 7, as you can see there, only 66.
And that nose will be a real problem for him in these remaining rounds. Blood is just streaming out now. And Sosa is very accurate as a marksman there, nailing that nose with jabs and uppercuts and straight right hands. A big adjustment for Tyrone Frazier. Training for Doug DeWitt, a whole different style. Facing Merqui Sosa. I don't think we can make too much of that, Wallace.
Well, you know, he did have 2 full weeks to alter his training, and he told us today it wouldn't really be a factor, but as we said in the open, it's got to be. Because Doug DeWitt is a completely different fighter physically. I mean, he's about the same size as Tyrone Frazier, and he's a classic stylistic boxer. And then you fight this guy who physically is a freak. He's a 6'1" fighter, and he's a big muscular guy, and you don't know where his next punch is coming from.
And he has had an excellent round again. Frazier landing a left hand a moment ago, but there has not been too much to choose from or to pick from as far as Frazier's offense is concerned.
No, the Frazier highlight film really wrapped itself up, I think, in round 6.
And the nose, really a big factor bothering Tyrone, it would appear, and why not? We'll probably find out later whether it is broken or not.
You certainly can't breathe through it when blood is coming out. It's just like, you know, if you can imagine being in a pool and having your nose filled with water. You can't breathe through it.
Big uppercut again by Sosa. Wally, I think one of the big factors in this bout has been one of your keys to victory. Frazier has not used his jab as much as he probably should have in this bout. Could have been setting things up with that punch, working his way in.
But you know, you never know, because Sosa gives you such a strange look in the ring. There may have been a reason why Frazier decided, because he used the jab in the first round, why he decided not to use it anymore.
Round 8 is history. And things in this corner might be getting a little desperate. Certainly worried, at least.
What a towel, man. Hey, Tyrone, you got to win these next 2. Get the towel. You got to win these 2 rounds, brother, to be in the fight. What a towel. There, go right there.
In other words,
Is it okay here?
With a bucket. Hey, Tyrone, don't let him out-hustle you. He's out-hustling you, champ. Don't let him do
the
that.
same punch. It's a double right if you're third. You get the guy out of there. And you got to get him out of there.
Don't let him out-hustle.
Throw it from it. You're throwing it to the head. Double, you just fight into the head and you go out of there.
Come on, champ.
Here in round 7, that may have been where the nose was broken, or hurt at least. Yeah, no question that bothered his nose there, Wally.
That nose is certainly tender too, because when they were trying to work on it in the corner, he actually slapped the hand away at one of those cornermen when he tried to put his hand on it.
A lot of pain in Tyrone Frazier's on his nose, and he guts it out here in the 9th round. It's scheduled for 10. Super middleweights. 25-year-old Merqui Sosa in the gold. 28-year-old Tyrone Frazier in the red. Really an important bout for both men. Frazier back down to the super middleweight division after trying to win Virgil Hill's light heavyweight match championship. And for Merqui Sosa, coming off the first loss of his career against James Toney, but it was such a bad loss, the way he looked, that he needed a good performance, and he's gotten it tonight.
He certainly has, and that could have been a very demoralizing loss for him to James Toney, because that was a big step up in class for him. And at that point, Sosa may have been questioning his own abilities, but I think after tonight, he can take another look at them and be happy about it.
Well, he benefited probably from the fact that Tyrone Frazier's style is more suited for him to look good, but nevertheless, take nothing away from Merqui Sosa. Look at overhand right by Sosa. He has performed very ably here.
Well, that's a good point, Al. I think that Merqui Sosa is always going to have trouble with boxers, with good boxers, guys who can jab and move on him. But this kind of a fighter who likes to come in and mix it up, Sosa may have an advantage because he's got those long arms and he can throw an uppercut.
And give Sosa credit for his fighting on the inside as well. A place where not everyone, including me, really thought he could do well against Frazier. I figured if Frazier got in here, he might have a field day.
Right, me too, because Sosa really isn't built to be an inside fighter. The same way Tommy Hearns has a lot of trouble fighting on the inside.
And look at him rip those uppercuts. Sosa very, very effective. A minute left to go in the 9th round, and time is really slipping through Tyrone Frazier's hands. Got an overhand right in Frazier, but didn't do any damage to Sosa.
There's really not much left on his punches anymore. Frazier really just going on guts right now.
Every once in a while, Tyrone gets some leverage on one of those left hooks, but by and large, not big power punches right now. Half a minute left to go in round 9. And now, I think Tyrone Frazier really hurt. The nose is bothering him. He's keeping coming forward, but to no avail. He's taking a lot of punishment. Well, let no one ever question the courage of Tyrone Frazier, showing that again tonight. Round 9 is just about history for Tyrone Frazier. He needs something dramatic to win this bout.
And really, Tyrone can't stop the punches.
Well, for that man, Tyrone Frazier, the promise that the middle rounds held out has turned into less than that in the later rounds. We're into the 10th and final round.
And they can't even stop the bleeding. I mean, as soon as he gets off the stool, it starts up again.
And I think there was some discussion in that corner about whether they should call it a day. Of course, Tyrone hardly wants to hear any of that talk, as we've said he's a courageous warrior, but still, if that nose is broken, he might be better off having it stopped.
You could also say it's not going to get much worse in the next 3 minutes.
And there is the story, and it is the story.
And that gap has been widening since round 3, and now you see Sosa with 120 punches more landed than Tyrone Frazier.
Merqui Sosa came in here to show he had more skills than the last time he fought on ESPN. That loss to James Toney, he's done just that. And Tyrone Frazier has just had trouble getting his offense on track. Only did it in the middle rounds of this bout.
I think the main reason was the area in which he can be effective is also the area in which he's getting hurt.
And when you get inside and you can't land and you're supposed to be the boxer there, it can demoralize you. Half a minute, or half the round gone here in the 10th. And probably Merqui Sosa is thinking to himself, I found a home at 168 pounds.
Well, he keeps fighting brawlers. He does look very, very comfortable.
I don't know that there are that many slick boxers in the 168-pound division.
That might be hard-pressed to name 10 boxers of any type in the 168.
Yeah, he might find it to his liking. Right now, he is just doing a number on Tyrone Frazier.
He's really a great physical specimen, too. I mean, he's got long arms, he's strong.
Physically, he can give a lot of people trouble as he is to Frazier. Oh, Tyrone hurt with that right hand.
And that may have been a knockdown. I think his glove may have touched the canvas.
This bout could be very close to being stopped. Courage personified in that young man, but how much more of this can he take? Luckily for him, there's only about 35 seconds left. Now Tyrone Frazier just trying to last it out.
That's it.
A good call by Joe Cortez. A wonderful call by him. And for this man, the word wonderful could apply to his performance.
Excellent performance from Merqui Sosa. Very, very painful night for Tyrone Frazier. And he is just a mess.
It started to really get bad in about the 7th round after he had made a pretty good comeback in those middle rounds, even got the bout to the point where you had it even. And from the 7th on, it was just a devastating performance by Sosa. And for this young man, Tyrone Frazier, who may very well have received a broken nose in this bout, it was a nightmare.
A devastating loss. And you know, now looking back on it, it may be that Sosa was just taking a rest in there because he did seem to lose some intensity in rounds 5 and 6. We were wondering about whether he was losing his concentration in the fight. Maybe he was just taking a rest.
And so too was Pat Versace, his cornerman, wondering, urging him not to drop his hands and maybe thinking, as we did, that Sosa was losing his focus.
Which he did against James Toney, so they were not too far off base in thinking that way.
This time, though, no such problem for that young man. He was ready to go and ready to box well in those later rounds. And as we look at Merqui Sosa, you have to feel that this young man showed us that in this weight category at 168, he can get the job done. He showed power, he showed good movement, and we're being told here that he was ahead on all scorecards, 90-83, 87-83, and 87-83. He was ahead on everyone's scorecards in this match. There's the totals.
And that tells the story right there. 336 shots from Sosa and not very many jabs, I would guess, in that bunch.
So Merqui Sosa, the numbers tell it. Tyrone Frazier's face tells it. He was excellent. Michael Buffer in the center of the ring will give us the official word.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Joe Cortez stops the bout at 2 minutes, 32 seconds of the 10th and final round. The winner by TKO, Merqui El Caramba Sosa.
So Merqui Sosa gets his win, and if he ever needed any redemption from his performance against James Toney, he got it tonight. Wally will be back to talk with him. His race tonight, but he remains a gutsy and durable performer. Wally Matthews is in the ring with Tyrone Frazier.
Al, gutsy is certainly the word here. Very, very painful fight for you tonight, Tyrone.
Very much so.
What was the main problem in coping with Merqui Sosa tonight?
His awkwardness. He was very awkward, but it was feasible for himself, because he was doing things that was very, very difficult to adjust to. His awkwardness. We thought when we were training for it that we could deal with it, but he's awkward and he's very strong.
Now, it seemed that there were times where you had him where you wanted him. You had him against the ropes, but he was scoring well with uppercuts off the ropes. Was that unexpected?
That's how I think he cracked my nose. That's why I couldn't really capitalize, because he was throwing that uppercut ungratefully. And it was catching me, and it had me basically hampered my ability to capitalize on anything, because I got tired of him touching me in my nose. And it was hurting.
Well, what do you think you do next? Do you stay at 168? Do you move down to middleweight, or you move up again?
Nah, I'm going to stay where I'm at. You know, it wasn't to the point where he was devastating at all. And when he did hurt me, when the referee stopped the fight, I was still aware of myself. I knew what I was doing, but the referee felt I was taking too many shots. And, you know, I can't be a referee in the fight also, so the referee felt that he should have stopped the fight. So I was basically agreeing with him, because I knew I was taking a lot of shots upside my head. So I was kind of like, yeah, stop it if you want to. I won't be mad.
Tyrone, thanks very, very much for talking to us after what I know was a very difficult loss for you. Back to Al at ringside.
A classy young man, Tyrone Frazier. A sense of humor, even in defeat. and that's pretty typical of him. The winner, Merqui Sosa, beating Tyrone Frazier, and Wally Matthews is in the ring with him.
Okay, Merqui Sosa, the winner here tonight. He speaks limited English, so we're going to take it slow. Merqui, you were a much more effective fighter tonight than you were with James Toney. Was the main difference the style of Frazier, or was it the difference in weight class?
Last time I wanted dedication to the fight, so the drop in the war on the United States. Thank you for liberating Kuwait. And I said thank you all my people.
Okay, and tell us how you defeated Frazier tonight.
Yes, it's a good fighter, and when I fight with James Toney, I feel weak for I lost so many weight. I think about the fight, go to the gym, coming up as super middleweight. I hear I'm feeling very strong. He's a good fighter too. And Jay Frazier, give me a good fight, and I love that kind of fight. I hope the next time I do it better.
Obviously, he was a more effective fighter at 168 pounds. Pat, do you think this is where he ought to remain now?
Yes, he has to remain here. And with this win, I'm hoping there's an opportunity with Lindell Holmes. The question came up and they asked me if I would take it, and I said yes.
Well, Lindell Holmes is not that much unlike James Toney in terms of style. Now, will you make some adjustments?
Oh, yeah. Merqui, you could see tonight he listened. He knew what he had to do in here. And he had his strength. There was no question. It was just, to me, a matter of time, you know. But nobody's going to beat this kid.
Well, you heard it here. A bigger and better Merqui Sosa at 168 pounds. TKO's Tyrone Frazier here tonight. Now back to Al at ringside.
All right, so Merqui Sosa has his sights set on IBF super middleweight champ Lindell Holmes. If he keeps boxing this way, he may get his wish. We'll be back for a final word. Stay with us.